Sonny Melendrez, Sonny Radio, sonnyradio.com.
Hello, hello, it's Sonny Melendrez, and welcome to the positive side of the radio spectrum. Every week, I strive to bring you entertainment and inspiration through storytelling, fascinating guests, exclusive celebrity interviews, and all delivered with lots of enthusiasm. Now, I cannot wait to introduce you to my special guests today, and wait till you hear their stories. As always, we're brought to you by Ideal Precision Roofing, serving San Antonio and the Bernie area. No question about it, there's never a better time than now to have your roof checked, especially if you suspect you might have hail damage from previous storms. That's the time to call Ideal Precision Roofing, serving San Antonio and the Bernie area. They'll come out, do an inspection of your roof, and don't go up there yourself. And then if you do have damage, get the wheels in motion to connect with your insurance company, and in a matter of days, you can have a brand new roof and the satisfaction of knowing it was installed by an Owens Corning Platinum Preferred contractor. That means that Ideal Precision Roofing is among the 1% of contractors in the country to have that designation. So don't delay. Call Ideal Precision Roofing today at 210-485-1553 or visit idealprecisionroofing.com and tell them that Sonny Melendrez sent you. And now, on with the show.
Sonny Radio, sonnyradio.com.
Joe Wadsworth is a music producer based in the UK and the founder of an amazing way to get your song recorded, packaged, and promoted, and it's all done online. The results can be unlimited. Just ask the very talented Tiffany Frampton, who connected with Joe from her home in Alaska at the time and got her song produced, and, well, you're about to find out what happened next as I welcome them both to the show. Tiffany and Joe, it's great to have you here.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
I can't tell you how much I am so inspired by both of your stories. And I want to start with you, Joe, because you have an online recording studio. Now, often when a recording studio has an online presence, it means you're going to contact them, you're going to actually go to the recording studio, and then go through the process of recording a song, your band, etc. But you've got kind of a unique twist. Tell me about the online recording studio.
Well, I think first and foremost, it very much does what it says on the tin. We wanted to make something that would be kind of the logical next step for artists in the digital era who wanted to create great music. But that old-fashioned thing of going into a physical studio is fairly antiquated, and it can be super expensive. You're often paying by an amount of time rather than what you're actually getting at the end, which kind of open-ended. You end up spending a lot more. It's complicated. You have to turn up on the day and nail it on the day. You have to know all the musicians that you're going to be pulling in. You have to have, there's a lot of moving pieces.
Sure.
And particularly for artists who are maybe new to it, or actually over this last year, we've seen because of lockdown, it's been the only option for people. But so many people get put off recording because they have a bad experience with a studio and they decide not to do it anymore. And that's a crying shame, because so many people end up not pursuing what could be a really huge part of their lives. Right. Because of this bad experience. And so I wanted to make something that would give any artist the opportunity to record great quality music, whatever their background, whatever genre they make, wherever they are in the world, with whatever equipment they've got. And we find a way to make that work. And so, I started it when I was still at university. I left university at the end of my first year. And we've now grown it from being just me and a couple of mates making music in my dorm room at university to a team of about 30 people who are dotted all around the world. We've done several thousand tracks at this point. We've got a big community, and we've been fortunate to work with a lot of great artists.
So, Tiffany, how did you find out about Joe's online recording studio?
I'm going to be honest. I think Joe reached out to me on Instagram, of all things. I had posted a few videos of me singing. I mean, just on my phone, nothing special. And I just got a DM, and I was looking at the prices and everything that they offered. And it really is incredible how, I mean, I call Joe the Walt Disney of music, because truly he's making just dreams come true. I have had so many doors open from the music that I've recorded with them. And so, yeah, I mean, it was simple as just an Instagram message.
What happened then, Joe?
Yeah, I found Tiffany on Instagram. I really liked the music that she had, and I thought, hey, that's someone that we could really do some cool stuff with. So I got in touch, and we had a bit of a chat about. This was quite a long time ago. This was about 3 years ago, Tiffany. I think it was maybe more even. So we had a bit of a chat about stuff. I think we jumped on a call and sort of talked through some ideas for music, and then I thought, I've got a producer who I think will be absolutely perfect. Another guy who's also called Joe Garrett. He's an electronic producer, also based over here in the UK. And we matched the two of them up, and then they did this song called Run Away With Me, which is on Spotify now, which is to this day one of the favorite songs that we've done.
All right, so here's a clip of both tracks, before and after.
Close your eyes and run away with me. Tell me you're everything I need. Let's lose the jobs, all the thoughts, and forget about the money. We don't know the world a thing, so tell me if you're with me, 'cause we could be happy. Close your eyes and run away with me. Tell me you're everything I need. Let's lose the jobs, all the thoughts, and forget about the money. We don't know the world a thing, so tell me if you're with me, 'cause we could be happy if we run, run, run away. I don't wanna wait around, I don't wanna waste time talking about the same old things, and I don't want this moment's passing by until the clock rings. So darling, if you love me, take my hand and we can spread our wings. Darling, if you love me, come run away with me, yeah.
That is fantastic. What a transformation.
I still listen back to it and sort of think, this is kind of where, cause it's one of the quite early ones on for us as a company. I sort of listen back to it and I just think, wow, that was such a catalyst for so much that came afterwards. And it was one of those first ones that we listened to and we kind of went, this has really got legs, not just with this artist who has this great music, but also that we can provide real value to people. And so really Tiffany started working with Joe Garrett. They would meet over Zoom or Google Meets, or whatever it is what we were using at the time, and discuss the track. Tiffany then, once we had a backing track ready, Tiffany recorded some vocals at home, sent over the vocals via email over to Joe. He put the vocals into the track, and then they sort of chatted a bit more about it. And then the track was finished, mixed and mastered without them ever actually being in the same room together.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
It's a great track.
So Joe, the other Joe, created this track, sent it to Tiffany, and then Tiffany, did you record at home?
I did. So actually, the funny part is I was living in Alaska at the time, and I just had my blue Yeti mic, and I was just in my little office space, and I think I sent him like a little scratch demo. He listened to it and came up with the full track. He sent that to me, and then I just popped it in GarageBand, and then I recorded my vocals over it. And then I just sent him my clean vocals, and then he did all his magic.
Wow. That's amazing. And it all happened from Alaska to Leeds in the UK. That is just incredible.
You're listening to the Sonny Melendrez Show. Sonny's email address is sonny@sonnyradio.com.
My conversation continues with singer-songwriter Tiffany Frampton and online music producer Joe Wadsworth. All right, Joe, let's turn the page and talk about your childhood. What was young Joe like?
Oh, young Joe was a real whippersnapper. No, when I was younger, I came from a really, really musical family. And my dad was an actor. He's a sort of West End actor, and so was in a lot of musical theatre. He did a lot of stuff, Les Mis and Blood Brothers and that sort of stuff. So I was always exposed to performance and music and that sort of energy that comes around that. My mum also was an actress. That's how they actually met. They were in a version of Mozart's Don Giovanni together, playing the two leads, and that's actually how they met one another. So I was always surrounded by music, and I wanted to always go. I knew I always wanted to go into music, and I think I play a bit of piano, and I also played the clarinet as well, and had a lot of really good times associated with making music, and so knew this is what I want to do. I want to carry on with this, and so I thought I wanted to start a record label because I really wanted to be a bit like Mark Ronson. He was a huge hero to me, and it was one of the first albums I ever bought. Was his actually it was his second album, Version, which was an album entirely made of cover versions that he'd done, which had the Amy Winehouse Valerie on it, and Lily Allen, oh my god, all of those sorts of songs. Sort of was pursuing music and thinking, yeah, this is the thing to do. And then the time came around that it was time to go to university. And there were two places that I was deciding between. There was Leeds College of Music, which was up in Leeds. I grew up in London. And then there was the Guildhall School of Music and Drama, which was a really prestigious school in London. Now, out of a sort of act of, I think, maybe teenage rebellion or just being a bit silly, decided that even though I'd been offered this place at the Guildhall, which only accepted 4 people in each year in the course that I was doing out of sort of hundreds, if not thousands of applicants, I was like, no, not doing that. Everyone, that seems like the right decision. So I'm absolutely not going to do that. I'm going to go up to Leeds. And in all honesty, within about 2 weeks of making that decision, I absolutely regretted it, because I was just like, this is a terrible place to be. The university, the city is amazing. And so very quickly realized that my university course was going to be something that was not going to be inspiring or educating. And it just, no one really cared at that place. It was just like going through the motions, and it was a sort of one size fits all for music production course. That meant that you had like electronic producers and like rock producers in the same class. And so I was like, do you know what? I want to get out of here ASAP. And so I thought, right, I'm just going to have to start doing my own thing and then get out of here. And then we started doing tours, and the rest is history.
Amazing. Just amazing. Now, when you went out to get artists, how did you do that? Was it online? Did you troll them like Tiffany?
It really was at first, and to this day, still to a large degree, Instagram. I personally am not very good at Instagram as a user. I don't really get how to post stuff about myself. People often comment about how rubbish I am at using Instagram as a person. I seem like a total weirdo on social media, because I just don't get it. But from the perspective of meeting people and kind of growing a service and growing a community, that made sense to me. And so I that was a really useful thing. And so I started talking to people much like Tiffany, who I'd found, who I thought, hey, there's a really good artist with some great material. It just needs a bit of polishing. It needs sort of dressing up into something, because right now it's just demos with a guitar or a ukulele, or it's endless possibilities. And so I started just reaching out to people and saying, hey, I'm a producer. You have this song. I can record the entire thing myself. I'll do it. I'll play the guitar and program some drums and some bass and play some keys on it, and I'll charge you £100. Just a sort of nominal amount, because really I was trying to build up a sort of a portfolio, and it was all recorded in my dorm. And then after about a year of doing that, I was like, well, this is a thing. I could just do this the whole time. And by that point, we had different people. So say I needed like a trumpet player. It was 2 a.m. I'd put something on our message board for the university halls I was in and say, hey, I need a trumpet player to come down. I got some pizza. I got some beers. Come down. We'll have some fun jamming. And then people come down and record a little part, and then they go off, and we'd hang out. And that's how the first like 20 to maybe even 50 tracks were made for Online Recording Studio. Well, we were called My First Single at the time. Well, we called My First Single when we first worked with you, Tiffany.
Yes, it was. Yep. And I remember asking, because I was like, can I record more? Because this is great.
Well, that was it, is that there were 2 questions that we used to get all the time when we recorded My First Single. The first one was exactly what Tiffany just said there. It was like, well, I've done my single now. Am I allowed to do another? And we thought, well, we shouldn't have to explain that. Like, that's our fault for not being clear. And the second one was, because it had the word single in it, on multiple occasions, I was asked what the sort of dating element was that was part of the My First Single service, whether it was for people who'd recently come out of relationships or had never been in a relationship, and I sort of had to say, No, single like a musical single, like a record, not like it's not like a singles event. And I think by the second or third time of having that conversation with a different person, I was like, right, we should change the name because this is getting confusing for people. So I was like, right, well, what do we do? We're an online recording studio. Great, the online recording studio. That'll work well on Google. And I was kind of acting as a sort of middleman between artists and these great musicians and other producers that I had from my university. And for the first 3 years, I would say every single customer that we got came from Instagram.
Here you are 1,000 plus, recordings later, and you've made all these dreams come true. And Tiffany, you, I believe, started writing poems when you were, in middle school?
Oh, honestly, I think they started back when I was in second grade.
Wow.
I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I loved writing. And, I actually was not a school person. And so I think it's funny how I've actually ended up here because I don't think I would have realized that, but I loved writing and I loved writing poetry. I think that was probably the only good grade I would get in school is English class and art. But yeah, so I would start writing sort of these poems, things that would rhyme. And I was like, oh, I like this. And then my mom, she was on the worship team all her life. And so I've just gotten that probably musical talent from her. And so I would start singing these poems. And then when I finally got into high school, I was like, you know what? I think Taylor Swift was getting really big at this time. And I was like, you know what? I got to get a guitar. And so I asked my dad, I was like, hey, would you mind me getting a guitar? And I don't think they thought I would stick with this. And so they're like, well, let's go down to the local pawn shop and we'll pick out a guitar. And I remember seeing this beautiful Fender up on the wall. And I was like, that's the one I want. Not realizing that it was way too big for me. And as your fingers are trying to adjust and learn chords, it was so difficult. I actually think I stuck with it for a couple of months and then I gave up for 6 months. And I realized, you know what, I got to get back into this. Taylor Swift probably came out with a new CD that got me inspired again. And so I finally stuck with it. And then my dad actually, once they saw that I was writing music and learning new chords, they decided to get me another guitar that fit me much better. So
that's great. So you taught yourself to play?
I did. Yes. I never got a lesson in my life. Actually my grandpa, he taught me the G chord, C chord, D, all the basics. And so, but besides that, yeah, I'm self-taught and I'm still, you can tell I'm not very good at guitar, but it's enough to, write some music too.
Yeah. You're too modest, Tiffany. You're too modest.
All right. So you go to Joe, or Joe contacted you and you made your first recording. What happens with the song after that?
So I think actually I ended up talking with Joe about this because I wasn't quite sure what are the next steps. And I found a distribution company and I just uploaded my song on this website and they distribute my music all over. And so I was actually so surprised how easy this process is, especially working with Online Recording Studio. My first recording did really well, which is Runaway With Me. But then I decided to do a Christian song, and I actually ended up on a Spotify playlist called, it was the Give Me Your Strength.
I need your strength just to get me through. So tell me, Lord, what you have me to do.
And I also worked with Joe and Joe Garrett on that one as well. And I made it on a Spotify playlist. Not sure how that happened. And a major Christian artist, Danny Goki, reached out to me and told me he loved the song and the music. And so, working with Online Recording Studio, they have literally made my dreams come true. I have no idea. My story would probably look a little different if you guys were around, Joe, before I went to college, because I don't think I would have gone to college. I think I would have just pursued music.
Because you're not a school person.
I'm not, no.
Now, Joe, is this a typical success story with all the people that you work with?
As I said before, I've not seen Tiffany, and it's been a few years since we last had a chat. So it's really lovely to hear that this is, that's happened, and that last song, "Give Me Your Strength," was a really, really interesting song. So it was one of the first ones that we've done as a kind of more electronic track, but for worship music. It was, I think it was one of the few that we've done like that. In terms of with other artists, there have been some really, really great successes, which we're really proud of. We've had some songs featured on Netflix shows, on Amazon shows. We've charted in various countries. We've had people go to #1 on singer-songwriter charts around the world, on Apple Music and things like that. But fundamentally, for me, the thing that I deem to be successful and a successful relationship with an artist is that they come out the other side of it saying that was a great experience, and that was something that I'm really glad I did. And we could provide so much more than just a song.
Tiffany, isn't this music to your ears? Pardon the pun. It's just incredible. I mean, he's like a George Martin, what he was to the Beatles. I mean, it's incredible that that he loves and cares so much, not only for the artist, but also for your baby, for your song.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Tiffany, what's in the future for you? You live in Dallas now, right?
Yeah. So we actually just moved over to East Texas, but I'm still working virtually in Dallas, and it's been amazing. I have been writing music. Now, what's funny is when you reached out to me, I have not done a lot with music since my daughter was born. She's 5 months old now. And so I have been soaking up all the snuggles and, all the things that come with babies. But I've been writing music. I am hoping to get more out there. So Joe, we will have to be working together soon because I have a list of music. I have a stockpile of songs that I'm ready. I have actually fully dove into the Christian pop world. And so that's kind of my genre now. I love it. A lot of opportunities come from it. And so, yeah, I'm excited to hopefully work with you guys again. And like Joe said, I mean, they offer so much, but it also is like a community. I have friends from all over, honestly, the world because of what Joe has offered through the online recording studio. It's fun because we can collaborate, we can songwrite together. I mean, I've got friends in North Carolina and all over the world that I could actually be on their song because of what they do.
Wow.
And yeah, so there's endless opportunities with them.
Meant to be.
Yes.
So Joe, what would you say to somebody who's listening right now with a song in their head, with a dream that they wanted to pursue but didn't know how to do it in the music business? What would you say?
I think what I'd say is that the timing and the conditions for an independent solo artist to create and put their own music out and share it with potentially billions of people around the world have never been better, and probably never will be better than they are right now. And so if there is a song that you have, or a number of songs, then you should just go for it, because having your work immortalized and being able to listen back to it and know that that's going to outlive you as well. That's going to be something that potentially, people are going to listen to for years and years to come, and you can share with your family and you can share with your friends. I think get in touch with us and, send us a message on Instagram. Go to onlinerecordingstudio.com and send us a message. We'd love to hear from you. And as Tiffany says, we'd love to welcome you into the community.
Well, I bet you've inspired a lot of other Tiffanys who might be listening right now, and we'll be contacting you. And Tiffany, we're going to be looking for that album, and I'm going to predict that some of your songs are going to be inspired by your daughter.
Oh, yes. I've already written a couple inspired by her, so
that's beautiful.
She'll have her own album. And
do you have a website, or do we find you on Instagram?
Mostly on Instagram. I do have a website that I'm working on. But right now it's through Wix, and so it's a little complicated. But Instagram is probably the best, just Tiffany_Frampton. So. All
right. And Joe, do you have a personal website?
I don't. And as I said before, I'm absolutely useless as a personal Instagram. So, you can come and follow me. But if you thought that I came across well in this interview, you won't if you go and look at my Instagram. So I would say just contact us through the online recording studio, because that's the best place to find us.
Well, God bless you both. I believe that everything happens for a reason, and I was so glad to reunite the two of you, and who knows what it can lead to, but I thank you so much for your wonderful stories and your inspiration.
Well, thank you so much.
Well, that's my visit with the Walt Disney of music, producer Joe Wadsworth in the UK, and the soon-to-be even more famous, talented singer-songwriter Tiffany Frampton. You'll find links to Joe's amazing online recording studio, as well as how to find Tiffany's beautiful and powerful music by visiting sunnyradio.com/show. That's sunnyradio.com/show. And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe to my podcast so you don't miss a single episode. Until next time, I'm Sonny Melendrez, and I leave you with this final thought. Do what you love, and you'll find people who love what you do. Bye-bye.